Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, and members of the committee. As noted ahead of, I'm honored to lead the Society's national litigation team. Our dedicated professionals work in states and federal courts across the country to defend the constitutional rights and really the rights of every American. Relevant to today's hearing is noted. I'm proud to have led the defense of Mark Houck for the Society, and our team has represented dozens of other pro-life Americans against the unprecedented assault on them by the Biden Department of Justice. Numerous criminal prosecutions were brought, civil cases across the country. Now, the Biden DOJ engaged in a systematic campaign to abuse the power of the federal government against pro-life advocates, while that same DOJ ignored hundreds of acts of vandalism and violence against pro-life churches, pregnancy help centers, and other advocates. On behalf of our clients and the pro-life movement as a whole, we're thankful to President Trump for his recent pardons and to the members of this House who supported that effort. Those pardons sent a powerful message to the country, and especially to the millions of Americans in the pro-life movement, that the federal government should not be weaponized against Americans because of their sincere beliefs in the sanctity of human life. We're grateful as well for the actions of the Trump DOJ, its chief of staff, who issued the memorandum directing the dismissal of the prosecutions and civil lawsuits against our clients. And that memo highlighted the fact that the Biden DOJ selectively prosecuted and enforced the law against our folks while ignoring the many acts on the other side. You may have heard some of the stories of these advocates. There's Paul Vaughn, the evangelical Christian father of 11, whose children were outside waiting to go to school when heavily armed federal agents rolled up, held his kids at bay as other agents then arrested their father. Paul didn't even block access to a clinic. He was there to give moral and spiritual support who did, but still the DOJ charged him with a FACE Act violation and a felony conspiracy against rights. While he escaped prison time, others did not. Because of that conspiracy against rights felony, we've had numerous clients who received multiple-year prison sentences, especially in Washington, D.C. Then you heard about Mark Houck. And of course, 20 federal agents at dawn directed their guns at him and his family, took him away in handcuffs. The thing is, we offered to present Mark to the prosecution, and had he been anybody but Mark Houck, we would have been allowed to do so. Instead, they spent those law enforcement resources, created an incredibly dangerous situation on his front lawn outside of Philadelphia. Now, we did beat the Biden DOJ in the Mark Houck case, winning that unanimous not guilty verdict from the Philly jury. And after that win, the DOJ from under Biden did not prosecute another sidewalk counselor. You see, because at the same time, you may not have heard, the Biden DOJ was investigating numerous other sidewalk scuffles at abortion facilities coast to coast. We had numerous clients contacted by the FBI in connection with those incidents, and had we not won for Mark, and won so definitively and publicly, we are sure that there would have been a wave of Houck-style prosecutions, federalizing minor sidewalk squabbles across the country. But now that the president has acted, the DOJ's cleaned out, and our clients' criminal records are wiped clean, well, is the matter concluded? Absolutely not. Because of the actions of the Biden DOJ, which mirror to some extent the actions of the Obama DOJ, sword of Damocles still hangs over pro-life advocates. There are long statutes of limitations on these federal laws, so folks remain in fear that some future administration will twist the law and come after them. Some of those Biden prosecutions were for actions that were taken under the first Trump administration, and the DOJ's recent dismissals were ordered on the basis of selective prosecution and did not necessarily recognize that the underlying laws don't apply to the conduct. And so, of course, while we urge the Congress to repeal the FACE Act, which is selectively and illegally enforced, we do have several other concrete steps that we would recommend. First off, as noted, this committee is very much needed because you need, respectfully, to continue to investigate and expose the misuse of the FBI and DOJ over the past 4 years against pro-life Americans. Sunlight's the best disinfectant, and this subcommittee has a lot of light to bring. Second, we would ask that you urge the Trump administration to bring to justice those who committed the violence and vandalism. If the FACE Act's to remain on the books, it should be enforced equally. And third, there are some very concrete things that the DOJ can do to properly define the scope of the FACE Act and the conspiracy against rights statutes. They can take formal written positions on those laws that will help to prevent this going forward. First off, recognize that Congress intended the FACE Act not to apply to sidewalk squabbles. That was agreed to by Senator Ted Kennedy. It's on the record from over 30 years ago. They agreed to that as part of passing this act, but it's been wiped away and ignored ever since. That needs to be recognized. Second, we need to make clear the FACE Act's physical obstruction doesn't apply to peaceable counseling activity that does not intentionally obstruct a patient or an abortion provider. The Biden DOJ advanced a contrary theory, which mirrored the Obama DOJ before it, and the New York Attorney General is continuing that action right now. That needs to stop. And again, we had said third was that recognize that FACE can't be applied to others who are not actually blocking the clinic without running afoul of the First Amendment. And fourth, get rid of this conspiracy against rights statute application because its 10-year felony provisions cannot be applied to pro-life advocates at all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.